So I want to talk for a second about the autonomy of an athlete and what the role of a coach is in a relationship with an athlete. So we have this conception that coaches are supposed to know what's going on. Like coaches should know what to give an athlete. And there is a lot of information that a coach should know and a lot of stuff that a coach should be able to pick up on. But there's this conception that a coach should be this hero figure and should know exactly what an athlete will respond to and know exactly what to give them. In as far as like, hey, I know that you shouldn't take this weight today. You should take it next time. Or, like this exact exercise will work for you. And it's really nice. It's really fun to think about a coach as this person who knows exactly what you're going to respond to. But there's a lot of uncertainty that you should carry as a coach. And so I want to talk about the autonomy of an athlete and athletes making decisions for themselves. So one of the things is like load selection. A coach should know roughly how to pick a load for an athlete, but ultimately it is up to the athlete to select a load for the day. That is why we use our PE. It auto-regulates to what the athlete feels. If that means loading a PR on your first or second week of a block, that means loading a PR on your first or second week. That doesn't mean holding that off for no reason. As long as that is the appropriate load, as long as that hits the right intensity that you're looking for, that's what you should do. Conversely, a coach saying you need to push this, you need to hit this load. If it's not the right intensity for an athlete, the athlete should make the decision on the day. It is not up to a coach. There's a lot of work that you can do in building that autonomy as an athlete. And one of the things that we do at RTS is build a lot of athlete autonomy. What that means is myself, I really value having an athlete pick their own loads. I will help them. I will say, hey, look, we should probably take 5 kilos more or 2.5 kilos more, something like that. But at the end of the day, it is up to them on the day to pick a load. And if they mess up, then they mess up. These are training careers that should hopefully last 10 years or more. Like these are long-term athletes. And I think that's what a lot of people miss out on is when you have an athlete, when you keep giving an athlete exactly what they need and you have this sense of confidence in what load someone should select or what exercise they should select, you remove the autonomy of the athlete to grow as an individual. Anyway, so like back to the RPE example, I want an athlete to pick the load on the day. I think that there should be a range potentially, and you should discuss that with the athlete. But I do not care if the athlete picks a weight outside of that range, because if they pick a weight outside of that range and it messes up and it's an overshoot or an undershoot, you know what? They learn from that. And over the years, you should be able to refine that load selection. Another thing is like exercise selection. It's really nice to pretend as a coach that you know exactly what exercises will work for a lifter. And while there is a lot of really good guessing that happens, ultimately it is up to you and it is up to the athlete to determine what works after a lot of analysis and a lot of studying what has worked for the lifter. For example, like you can look at someone's sticking point and say, hey, look, maybe high bar squats will work for you. But then high bar squats just do not have a good response. It is you as a coach who should look at your program and say, hey, look, I thought these were going to work. They didn't work. That's totally fine. Data is data. And then you move on and you pick something else. And the athlete should also be able to pick up and say, hey, look, I'm looking at my same training and I see that it doesn't work. And so I'm going to suggest this. I'm going to suggest, oh, hey, I feel this way. And so I think we should try this. Another thing is just opening that dialogue between lifter and coach and putting the tools into the hands of the lifter, the tools to make training decisions. Whether or not that is, hey, I think my program should look like this, or I think that this will work for me. I want to open that gate and say, hey, look, I'm not in every training session with you. I don't lift on the same day as you. You know more about your training than I do. I might have knowledge on how to assess your training better than you do, but at the end of the day, you know what's going on much more clearly than I do. If you have an idea, I want to hear it. And it might be a bad idea and we might test it and we might see that it doesn't work. Or it could be one of the greatest ideas of all time for you as a lifter. And I think a lot of people miss out on opening up that relationship as a coach and as an athlete and assume that there is a lot more knobs than what they really have. Anyway, I kind of want to close with saying, open up that relationship, open up that athlete autonomy, let athletes make mistakes. Let them screw up. It is so beneficial to mess up and then to figure out what you did wrong. And that is truly where learning happens. There's two components of training. There is the actual strength work, there's getting stronger, and then there is learning how to run a program that will make you stronger. And I feel like very often I see coaches who do not allow their athletes to make those mistakes because they're guiding them a little bit too closely. And I think we are building athletes. We're not building lifters for one block. We want athletes to be able to pick loads and to train on their own and make those decisions and be capable of making those decisions. So Anyway, I hope you get something out of this, and I hope that you can continue to build yourself up as a lifter and help make better training decisions throughout your training career.